time to Nerdfights. Working culture collide in a world full of thrills. Unfiltered opinions, race that ignite. The debates that unfiltered opinions and debates that ignite. Mr. Know-It-All, yeah, he's alright, bringing you the latest in movie shows and all things tight. But hold on to your war course, don't let him slip, cause the real captain here is SaltyTrekker on the ship. Navigating the cosmos, pop culture's delight. Debating what's nerdy, we keeping it tight. You know what that means, so don't lose sight. It's time to fight. Nerdfights. Navigating the cosmos, pop culture's delight. Debating what's nerdy, we keeping it tight. You know what that means, so don't lose sight. It's time to fight. Nerdfights. 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 Nerdfights, Nerdfights. Let's battle it out, bring the heat tonight. It's time to Nerdfight. Nerdfight. Nerdfight.
Y'all know what it is. It's Friday night. Time to get your nerd on. We got Mr. Know-It-All, the SaltyTrekker and Danny Dorkknight. Are y'all ready? Aight, here we go. If you're looking for me, you know where to find me. Cause tonight is going down. On Friday night, we have nerd fights. It's on tonight. On Friday night, we have nerd fights. It's on tonight. On Friday night, we have nerd fights. It's on tonight. On Friday night, we have nerd fights. It's on tonight.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nerd Fights. I'm, of course, Mr. Know-It-All, your host, and joining me, as always, are the two best guys in the world for doing this kind of stuff. That would be the captain of the starship, SaltyTrekker, and, of course, our very own number one himself, the wonderest of men, Dorkknight. What's going on, everybody? What's
They
happening?
never saw me coming.
That's real. Oh, my God.
Oh,
What a great
America.
week it's been.
Yeah.
Right? What a great week it's been, and all this stuff. By the way, we're going to spoil the heck out of these things. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics and throw some stuff at you. Feel free to go as live and crazy as you guys want in the chat.
But-
We will revisit you guys several times throughout the show. What's up,
Before we
Austin?
get started, we do have, some sad news. I think, don't we have something to show people?
You just can't help yourself right now. You just want to blow this out right now. Go for it, sir.
Well, no, you're the producer. You get the button.
Okay.
While they
Here
figure
we
that
go.
out, here's the shirt
Here.
I was trying to get everybody to buy last week. I'm wearing it. You can get it now.
We only get one shot at this, Gustavo. You ready? Always. Jake!
We're in position.
You're in place.
Sir, if you're going to hell, it's going to be because of how much you pick on this man. By the way, turn your fan off.
But I
That's
was
hilarious.
quite frankly shocked to see Laura go in such a undignified way.
Josh Gad does not look like Lore. Does he? I don't know. Maybe he does. Hey, Chad, tell me, did you think Josh Gad looks like Lore? Or rather, Lore looks like Josh Gad. I'd love to know that. By the way, he will be on the show a little bit later to talk about Star Trek. So don't worry, you're not missing out on him. But if he can, because I know he's been busy lately, and he may or may not, have time, but he's going to do his best to get here. But yeah, man. Oh my God, that's true. I forgot all about that. Doorman's part of the Great Lakes Avengers. That's interesting. I literally forgot all of that. That was the thing. He's right. That's crazy.
So Doorman is an actual Marvel character? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Oh, and his mask looks just like that, except they treated it a little more like, tongue in cheek. But in the comic, he has the two diamonds over his eyes as his thing. Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, granted, I know that some of the later Marvel stuff was not up to the par of, say, Marvel back in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
but uh, but Doorman, I mean, I just thought his powers were so dumb that that was something they had to have just made
So
up for that, you know. So
there you go, man. They went deep cuts. But
yeah.
that's a superhero is a anyway. So yeah, I know we're supposed to be kind of looking through some of this stuff. But how's your week's been though? What's going? What have you guys been into this week?
Well, I saw a movie that you saw.
I know, which
Yes,
we
we
had no
both
plan to
saw.
talk about, but I mean, I'm down for poking at
Yeah,
it. It's fine.
the latest Sam Raimi film, Get Help,
Yeah, yeah.
and it is.
It's send
I
help.
was
Send help.
Send help. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
send
sorry.
help. Yeah.
And it's rather disjointed because you watch about. It's half a movie that's a
It is actually.
serious psychological thriller about two people trapped on a desert island and an interesting power dynamic that takes place between the two of them. And then it's half balls to the wall Sam Raimi going crazy Evil Dead mode stuff. And there's
Right
like
on.
no transition, it just kind of changes.
True.
And
No, that's true.
yeah. Now, and now I know we talked about this a little bit. I would say the movie is entertaining, but my
Ish.
big what?
It's entertaining-ish if you're not into that kind of thing because it's more. I went into it thinking it was going to be more a horror thing because I was like I'm used to classic Raimi, and this was more
Well,
of a thriller. I would argue than an actual classical horror.
well, I
So
think it's
you definitely
classic
carried it.
Raimi in the second half. I mean, it's
Okay.
very
Yeah.
Evil Dead in the second half. I mean, I mean, maybe not with the supernatural stuff from Evil Dead, but
Right.
it's Sam Raimi esque. I mean, people's eyes getting gouged. I mean, you can't have a Sam Raimi film without eyes going somewhere.
No, true
Um,
story.
and in fact, I thought they satisfied that early in the film with the pig, and then of course it has to happen again later. Um, and the but we have eyes. We've got strange for no reason people looking right at the camera and making bizarre faces.
I
Uh,
don't know if they were right at the camera, but I hear you. I do hear what you're saying. I hear you.
well, she
I'm gonna
looks right at the camera like three times in the movie,
I
and
mean,
then
the thing she was looking at was in that direction. So I
right,
don't.
and then
Maybe
of course
sounds
you
like
had your zombie on the beach. That was a very Raimi moment.
I,
Um, and
okay,
so
fair,
you
fair,
definitely
fair.
had your Raimiisms. There was no shortage of Raimiisms. But it lacked a hero. Because if you've seen the trailer, you know the basic premise: guy and a girl
Right.
hate each other, trapped on a desert island together, and the basic setup is that the girl is the victim of this complete douchebag who's her boss at work, which is true, but she is no better than he is, and in fact, in some ways, she's much worse. So, well, spoiler warning, she's a serial killer. So, yeah, a little minor thing. So I don't know. I had a problem with that. I want there to be a hero, but
Danny,
it
what you
was
got
very
going on, Dan?
entertaining.
Hold on. What's going on, Danny? What's
We're
happening? Are
boring,
you researching something?
Oh, no, I haven't seen this movie. I don't know what you're talking about. I have nothing to add, so I'm just, waiting.
All
That's
right, no
fine.
problem. No, that's
Thank
cool.
you.
That's cool. Hang on. All right, so let's get that. So let's continue. So it's okay. It's all right. I'm sure he'll come back eventually when he wants to
Yeah,
actually have a conversation. It's okay.
yeah. Um,
Um, otherwise,
no,
no, it's
I did enjoy it. But I'll never go back to it.
agreed. No, same.
Yeah.
I same thing. I'll watch it again. I did a full review, so we can talk about it there. But at the same time, it's I don't want like we don't need to take up too much more time about it here. It's a
No.
horror thing. Go watch it if you want to. If you're into it, I will say one thing. This year, and Danny, I think you can actually contribute to this idea. This has been an amazing year for horror films. It's already starting, and last year was the same thing. Like that genre is coming
Horror
from
is
somewhere
definitely on a renaissance right now.
for sure.
And I will tell you, the one that I'm really, I mean,
Good, Dan.
you
When you're
know,
done, when you're done.
Oh,
it's
no, I was just going to say I really wanted to see Night Patrol, but it had a limited release and it's not playing in Vegas anymore.
yeah.
So.
I wanted to see Night Patrol too, but it wasn't playing at the theater that I usually go to. So, but and The one though that I saw a trailer for today that I'm really looking forward to, and no, it's not one of the several movies that are coming that follow the premise of a woman kills lots of guys because she's helpless but not really helpless.
Were
Because
there a
that's
bunch of those?
well, there's coming, ready or not, here I come, and there's they will kill you, and there's of course this movie that we just saw, and which honestly this movie was less of that, but this movie was, helpless woman isn't as helpless as we think from the trailer kind of thing.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but the ready or not, here I come, and they will kill you is straight up like what I call it, a bad bitch film. I mean, because that's what it is. It's just,
No, I got you.
you have an entire like in Ready or Not, Here I Come. You got an entire cult of people that, and if you haven't seen Hide and Seek, this is the sequel to Hide and Seek. In Hide and Seek, this girl is brought to her fiance's house to meet her rich family, and it turns out her rich family are a bunch of Satan worshippers that, for some reason, play a sick game of hide and seek where they bring a girl in and they all try to kill her. And so, but then
I feel like we should just have Danny like read us or talk to us about what the trailer is, because at least that would be, I don't know. I feel like that's just as interesting as what's happening right now.
yeah,
No, but for sure, I do think
but
that horror needs to be looked at and examined, because right now, like you said, they're really going into psychological places where forever it was always slasher movie, creature feature,
have you seen the
what do you call it?
trailer for Psycho Killer?
No, I have not, but I feel like
I
it's self-explanatory.
You would think a movie called Psycho Killer, how good it could it possibly be, right? Because it
Or it's
sounds
an
like
Insane Clown Posse album.
yeah,
Okay, it's an
but
ICP album.
yeah, it's and it's. I mean, you say it's a psycho killer movie, right? Because that's like a
Sure.
genre in and of itself. But this movie, it's directed by the same guy that directed Seven.
Oh, right on, man.
So
Or as
that's
Sweetie says, it's a wholesome family film then.
yes, and it looks. Oh man, the trailer looks downright disturbing. So,
Paranormal horror movies have always been kind of a thing for me too. I like them, like mainly because I don't necessarily share
What'd
a
you
lot
think
of
about
crazy. Go ahead.
the Event Horizon?
oh, I love
Bro, that movie messed me. I hate it. I loved it until I hated it because it was so, it was I was dude, I had
Sci-fi
nightmares
horror,
about- I had
Yeah.
nightmares about that
It's
scene for a long time. It
it's
stayed with me.
2001: A Space Odyssey meets Drag Me to Hell.
Woo!
Yes.
Wow.
And yet, you know how I am with horror movies. That one doesn't bother me because it's science fiction, it's fantastical, But it's one of my favorite horror movies for sure.
No, for sure. And I think that I feel like when you talk about horror, the one thing that you don't want to do is be caught in the wrong shirt. So Danny, why don't you go ahead and tell us something, brother?
Oh, are you talking about this?
Yeah, bro, you got your internet. I know you started talking about it
Man,
briefly.
how many times you try to pimp your shirts?
So no. This is for us, gentlemen. Nerdfightshop.com. You can get this shirt. We talked about the He-Man trailer last week. This is a He-Man mashup with Star Wars poster. We also have I would take it with a grain of salt and a bunch of Nerd Fight logo merch. Want to support the
We'll
channel?
have more. We're gonna have more stuff soon when it
Check
comes to
out,
designs, unique designs for each of us. I have
yeah.
one planned for Danny, which I think he's gonna love. I mean that. It's not being ironic. I mean that. I have a couple of ideas for something, but I'm gonna kick mine around with the other guys. And we're gonna definitely try to capitalize on if we can capitalize on Lore's name.
I almost meant to ask you guys, did you see these? Thank you, The Smoke, for bringing that up. They look good. Yeah, they look good. Yeah.
I loved them. I loved every one of those. Oh, Danny's knowledge about horror is so extensive. He has to go back to 1997 to be able to actually interact with the other hosts.
That must be lore.
It is, and it's the lore. But no, I wanted us to actually shift real quick and go to actually our first main topic, which is going to be Wonder Man. So those of you who've been, this show's amazing, and I'm going to give my thoughts. We're going to each kind of kick around. My first out the gate is I had no clue that, and I'm not going to. We can talk about the situations themselves as we go. I had no clue Trevor Slattery would end up being the character that he ends up being, and I'm not ready to fully spoil that just yet. But I'm just like, good Lord, man, that character has so much heart and so much like it's unreal. It's unreal what they've done to him. The character of Wonder Man, I liked the acting and I liked what they did. This was not your typical Marvel thing, and I was really into this.
I would say
all.
that I don't know if you remember, but the day that that Wonder Man dropped, I sent a text to our little group chat, and I said, "I'm only on episode 2, but I'm amazed that they made Trevor Slattery into a character."
Like
And that's the
real,
thing.
like genuine. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
because he's not just a joke, you know. Because even in Iron Man 3, you know, when they introduced him as the Mandarin, he was just, I mean, yeah, it was, ooh, he's scary for the first half of the movie. Then the big reveal happens, and then he's just a joke from that point on.
Even
And
in Shang-Chi, when he shows up, he's more or less a punchline half the time. He's an
right,
excuse to have the goofy little butt face monster creature thing run around with him.
right. So this is the first time that we see Trevor. We know who Trevor was. We
Yeah.
know that, what a joke he is to everybody. But we see the real Trevor in this. We get to know the person, not just the butt of a joke. And and you know what's really interesting is that, you know, the series opens up with them watching Midnight Cowboy, and Trevor is clearly the Dustin Hoffman character
Yes.
from Midnight Cowboy. And obviously, Wonder Man is the John Voight character, and that's kind of what we get here. Is it's a superhero version of Midnight Cowboy.
That's hilarious. I think that's a great comparison. For me, I think for those of you playing at home, we're gonna go ahead and I'd love to talk a little more. Danny, give me your thoughts, man, before we get into some of these breakdowns.
So I really fell in love with the Trevor Slattery character as a recovering. I was going to say recovered, but you never really are alcoholic, and how different he was, which makes a lot of sense because in Iron Man 3, you know, he's just, you know, a raging alcoholic, coke addict, you know, hooker addict, just terrible, disgusting human, doesn't really know what he's doing, just trying to get his next fix, whether it's booze or bitches or women. And he
Wait, booze, bitches, or women?
no,
going on, Chad?
I didn't finish I'm trying to clean up my act. Why you got to
That's
call
the
me
Las
out?
I'm
Vegas.
just trying to figure
That's
out
the
what
Las
your past
Vegas
is like,
syndrome.
Danny. Because
So anyway, um,
Sorry,
I
folks. That's the strip in him. I apologize.
you know, I sent you guys a text in our group thread where th- before this movie came out, WandaVision was my favorite Marvel TV show. This is easily my favorite Marvel TV show. That said, I would have preferred it be, you know, cut out all the recaps, the multiple intros, the long 5 minute. The credits are 5 minutes. You could have had a 3 hour, 3.5 hour tops just movie without all those breaks, and I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Kind of like that werewolf movie they did. You remember the streaming werewolf movie? I think
yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
Werewolf
Yes,
by
I do
Night.
actually. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they
I
should have
love
made it
that.
more like. Yeah, I think they should have made it more like that. But that said, I
We
love
got
I can't say enough good things about Wonder Man. I loved it a lot. So yeah.
We got that in episode 3, the Dormant episode. We got the black and white Marvel Spotlight style,
Yeah,
which,
Yeah.
by the way, I thought was really cool. And
Yeah.
we can come back to that. I don't mean to jump ahead too far. And yes, Smoke Yaya has played 3 comic book characters now. This guy literally walks across all the things, all the worlds.
yeah.
He's been an Aquaman. He was what's his face from
Black Manta.
He was Black
Man.
Manta and
Watchmen.
Aquaman. Yeah.
He was in the Watchmen. He played what's his name, Doctor Manhattan, and then he played now this. So yeah, the guy's unreal. So, for me, I think what I really dug was we've never gotten such a full picture arc before when it comes to a character in the MCU. We get WandaVision, we get her at the end starting a new thing of some sort, and I guess they tried a little bit with Ms. Marvel, but at the same time she sort of ends at the beginning of her journey. So this is the
Right.
first time we see a full range arc, start
I
middle
would
to end.
say
Well, very well astute
we
observation.
got we got in an 8 episode series about the equivalent of Tony Stark's arc from beginning to end of the Infinity Saga.
This
You know,
Really,
show,
yes.
I saw someone in the chat say they've heard enough and they're going to give Wonder Man a watch.
Oh my God,
It
yes.
is really, really
yeah.
good.
It's yeah. Don't listen to the
And they've been
formerly known
sitting
as
on it for they finished shooting it 2 years ago. Why have they been sitting on it so long?
Okay, so
I,
real quick, Preacher says, "I just wish it wasn't another show about the industry." I want to push back on that for a second, guys. Please feel free to jump in on this thought. I don't necessarily consider it. I think the industry viewpoint and lens is a vehicle. It's a vehicle because it shows specifically we're seeing another side of the MCU that we didn't actually get to see. This is the show I wish She-Hulk would have been, and I don't mean that about Hollywood, but I mean it shows you the world that superheroes inhabit, and because of like the Dorman episode, which sets up a huge thing. To me, the Dorman Clause is almost the equivalent of, say, the Sokovia Accords, in that it's a piece of legislation that ultimately pushes across an entire, like you feel ripples all the way across the thing. So you get to see the superhero world through the lens of this of Hollywood, yes, but mainly it's almost like that show that didn't happen, which was about damage control. It was the damage control show was supposed to happen, and it was supposedly all the people who have to deal with all the fallout from superhero encounters. So I liked. I didn't see it as an industry show, and I know why you would think it was or feel that way. I felt like the whole time we were watching a superhero having to deal with stuff, and every so often you'd see it in the explosions that happened and everything else. That it was hit. I saw it as a vehicle. Guys, what are your thoughts?
I'll say this on that. I don't. I get what you're saying about it being an industry show, but I think what this show does, and it does really well, because keep in mind, they have one of the finest actors of the 20th and 21st century, Ben Kingsley, who has been completely wasted in 90% of his projects.
So
But
good. He
but
was
you
so
have Ben
good.
Kingsley in this, and
Yeah.
then you have Yaya, who is also an insanely good actor, and
Yeah.
you give them an opportunity to show you exactly what an actor is capable of by showing them not just in their character, but their characters developing characters. And the scene that I really appreciated as a person with something of a theatrical background myself is watching when Simon is breaking down, he can't get it right, and he goes out on the balcony and he's just lost it, and out comes Trevor, and Simon, just lays it all out. I can't, this is, and then Trevor's like, okay, now use that, and then they do the scene, and you
Yeah.
felt it, even though you knew they were just playing other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
And
with that.
so it was powerful, and it shows, I think, that acting really is a craft, where most of the time actors are treated as just a joke. Now
I
they did treat the director as a joke, but that's that's a
Well,
whole.
I do want to say if anyone's read my Iron Man 3 review on Critic List, my least favorite part was Ben Kingsley, because I was a huge uh, uh, fan of the Iron Man comics, and when I heard that the Mandarin was going to be in Iron Man 3, I was super excited, because that's his Lex Luthor basically.
Mm.
And when
Yeah.
it ended up being what it was, I was so I roasted that movie. I hated that movie when it first came out. To me,
Right on.
this show, like, I love this character, Trevor. Like, he was so good in this movie, man. Like, I call it a movie. It's basically a movie. You know what I mean?
It
One of them.
absolutely is. Absolutely
Yeah,
is. That's why I hated the shorter
It's
string.
a
So I
three
agree
and a
with you.
half hour movie.
yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think if you just cut out the intros and all the other credits and stuff and literally watched it back to back, it'd be fine.
It'd
Take
be
it back.
way better too. I hated, like, it kept breaking it up. Like,
And it's funny because you mentioned the narcissism that is very common in actors, and yes, it's there in Ben Kingsley's character where he's always reminiscing about the great things that he's done, and although it's not like a parody of narcissism like we see so commonly in film.
but he's also trying
Uh,
to make his mama proud. As a mama's boy, that I felt seen. he kept bringing up how
That's hilarious. I love you. No, so okay. I want to push back on the narcissist thing as a guy, as a self-proclaimed recovering narcissist. I felt like you saw the difference. I think that Wonder Man's character Simon absolutely suffers from that, and you can actually see that in every interaction he has on a lot of bases. I think Trevor is actually on the opposite side of that discussion. I think he's been through the ringer and is in a more humble place to want to be like, but like you could tell when people start asking him about his history and about movies and questioning, yes, then that old rises up, that pride, but he's very much been humbled by life, and he's just like, look, I'm just
Well,
happy
because
that
the Mandarin thing.
at all.
well, not just the Mandarin thing. I
exactly.
mean, you got to think about. He says
Uh,
he's been 13 years recovering. That's a huge, like, life changing thing. You know
Well,
that.
but think about it. What put him into recovery? The Mandarin incident.
Yes, by the way,
Yes, yes.
I'm assuming this question is about what I had to say. What I said when I said recovering. I'm a recovering narcissist.
Oh, I
Meaning
thought you were
that
talking
just
about
like with
Trevor.
Danny and alcoholism, it's very
Yeah,
easy for
100%. It's 100% easy to. And in fact, me calling myself Mr. Know-It-All is actually a feint to try to kind of help deal with that up front in a way that is both funny and a little bit reductive. But yeah, no, it's legit. I'll happily explain that a little further. It's going to be boring as hell in the show, so I'm not going to do it here. But yeah, I'm happy to have that conversation. Yeah, you're right. Streeter points out his girlfriend left him because he was focused on his failed career.
yeah.
Even though I don't know if he has a failed career, he had recurrings and he
No,
did.
his girlfriend left him because he would. And they even touch on it in a later episode when we see her again at the bar. She left him because he wouldn't open up to her, and she knew about his powers, but he was so wrapped up in himself and so closed off, he didn't know that she knew, and she was just waiting for him to tell her, and
But,
he never
but
did.
think about what you just put in that sentence, Danny. He was so wrapped up in himself.
Yes.
That's what a narcissist
Well,
is.
there you go. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And we just leave wreckage behind us and don't really care. So literally later on, when he meets her again, by the way, we're going to start talking spoilery type stuff because I do want to get into the major arc in this thing that to me was a defining moment in the series. But when later on when he meets with his girlfriend because he's worried about what she might ex-girlfriend worried about what she
Might
might have
have
told
said,
the
yeah.
reporter, she's like, hey, I loved you. It's okay. You think I didn't know? It's fine. You had other priority. And I was like, oh baby, you're like, bro, you let the wrong one get away, bro. She understood and stayed with your lame ass that long. I was so mad. I felt both of them in that moment because
Yeah.
I've been on both sides of that seat, and I was like, oh, bro.
If I may, we have a little bit of wrestling royalty here. Joe Cronin, thanks for stopping by to check me out, buddy. I appreciate you. Just want to give you a
What's
little
going on,
acknowledgement
man?
there.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I love that. But hold on, that's right. Mr. Know-It-All is going to deal with his narcissism by talking about himself.
Yeah. That's exactly how you
That's so
don't want
much.
him dealing with it.
I love you, Street Preacher, bro. I love you.
Oh, that was good. That was
That's
good.
awesome.
That was
That was the
good.
best. No, okay, so we're gonna get into this because I really need to. And I'm gonna go straight to it. The moment he calls him, and I say Trevor calls him and is like, listen, you're going to be okay. I want you to go on. You're going to do great things. And then they show this thing, and the minute he shows up on the screen as the Mandarin, I want to tell you right now, F everybody. I was like, oh my God, because the show did the work of letting you understand every time somebody asked about it, every time somebody like was interested in it, you could see it in Trevor's face. He was like, yeah, that was me. It was a thing. It was a part. He wanted to stay away from it. And the fact that in that moment he embraces it to save his friend, bro, I got emotional, man. I was
I
like,
did too. No, I did too. That was
I was like, oh my God, dude.
this
That
was
was
a bromance almost worthy of Shatner and Spader. Man, I'm just saying.
Bro. What are your thoughts, Salty? What'd you say?
Oh no, I love that moment. The only thing I didn't like about it, but I get it because it's a TV show and all that, was that it didn't quite feel the same as the Mandarin moments from Iron Man 3.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, you can always write it up to, well, he doesn't have the production team working with him that Killian gave him. But but yeah, as soon as you see the Ten Rings logo and the static on the TV, and he's like, "I have done it," and it's like,
Yeah.
oh
Oh,
man,
and
Time
he
for
owns it.
another lesson.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I love the fact that you're right. Even though it wasn't the same production value, it was still the same ideas. He's like, "I want to talk about
Right.
something historic. Here's some pictures. Here's some, and I'm gonna make it all make sense." And you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
dude," and I just, it hurt my heart, and just the fact that he owned it so thoroughly,
But then we got the beautiful scene at the end. You know,
yeah,
you know what I mean. That was
Well,
so.
yes, there
oh,
wasn't like something me and Mr. Know-It-All were talking about is there's no big battle at the end of this series. We never
no.
see Wonder Man do battle with his evil doppelganger. You know, we never.
Yeah.
Or what you
We,
say on our phone call? You said the thing in the sky. There was
yeah,
no,
the sky.
you
There's
know,
no sky beam and world-ending
yeah.
threat.
Yeah.
It was just he went to prison to bust out his friend. And in fact, I like the whole thing because when he's sitting there talking to the old man, I thought he was seriously researching a part right up until they're driving to the prison.
Oh, I actually knew right away what was going
And then I
on.
was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I get it. So
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's crazy.
I really dug that.
Yeah, no. Make sure again, everybody who is on wherever you're watching from, or wherever you're watching, wherever channel. If you want to interact with us, you want to be on the Nerd Fighting at Nerd Fighting on YouTube, and that's where the primarily. But we're simulcasting across channels, so hopefully you guys share your particular link and just kind of get more people here involved. We'd love to have this conversation with more folks. We absolutely love. We're trying to grow this thing, believe it or not. So I really appreciate everybody here. Who's it's so funny. Street Preacher goes. Lore
Oh, sorry.
Reloaded is on so. No, you're fine. Lore Reloaded is on so many channels. I haven't had time to give them all a thumbs up. I appreciate it. No, totally. Would you have? What was the question? Would you suggest Superman to someone? Oh my God! Yes.
100.
All
It
the
is, you know, honestly,
and I
yeah,
and I was angry and I was mad. I would. This was not an This is not one of those times where Mr. Know-It-All is like, oh, I'm going to give this an opportunity. After Ironheart burned me, I broke my heart. I went into this so hostile. I went into this going, show me something. And then sure as crap,
So
at the
I
end of the
checked
first
out.
episode, I'm like, oh my God, this is good. Good next episode. I'm such a shield for this crap. It's
To
terrible.
that,
Ironheart is the first and only Marvel project that I have not finished watching.
so I never watched Ironheart. I didn't watch Miss Marvel. Like I've been checked out for a while. Only reason I watched this show is because you guys told me to for today's podcast, and I'm so thankful you did because this is the
Right on,
best
man.
thing Marvel's done in a
In a long time.
Well,
yeah.
but then you look at, you know, if you, because actually forget about Ironheart for a minute. Then you had Daredevil Born Again last year, and season 2 is coming up, and we had one good and two great movies last year.
Yeah.
So I think that Marvel is definitely turning things around. You know, and so for all the naysayers out there, you know, I'm not going to name anybody, neurotic, but the naysayers out there that are constantly crapping on this stuff, they're just doing it to do it at this
So
point. They're on
so
autopilot.
if I can reply to Street Preacher here,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
helped. It helped because it should have been a movie. They should have just
I
released
agree.
it as a movie. You know,
Honestly, I think you know, I think it's too bad. I think the reason they dropped it all at once is it was a desperation move because
well, they
people,
almost. Or go ahead. Sorry.
well, people are disinterested in Marvel right now, and so they figured if they dropped, you know, because people usually watch the premiere and then they'll come up with reasons why they hate it and never go back to it. And so if they drop the whole series and and fortunately most of the people that actually watch it and talk about it as opposed to the people like, you know, that we're used to talking about, you know, people that are actually paying attention to it are raving about it. The people that are hating about on it are people that are either clearly haven't watched it or just rage bait to rage bait.
And well, let's face it. That's what they do is the rage bait thing. But if
I feel bad. Real quick before you go into it, right here, I want to answer this. I'm just actually now hearing about this character. There are comics about this character. There are comics about this character, and there's even some folks in the chat who actually do like the character. I have never liked Wonder Man. That is not a determining. You shouldn't judge whether you are going to like him based on that. I've never liked the West Coast Avengers, which is what he was primarily a part of. This show did more for the character than I've ever seen done for the character in comics. So, but again, take that with a grain of salt. I didn't like the character. There's a lot of you might. So I would say check it out because I've heard there are some good runs. I just never saw them myself. Please forgive me, Danny. Continue.
Well, before I get into what I was going to say, speaking of Take It With a Grain of Salt, you can get our Take It With a Grain of Salt t-shirt on nerdfightsshop.com.
That's
So what
right.
I was going to say was I went down a little bit of a rabbit because I don't know anything about this character either. I
Yeah,
tried to
yeah.
go down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I really, really, really enjoyed this show. And I found out some really interesting things. Um, they shot a couple episodes, and then the writer strike happened, and then
Yeah.
the new Disney head came in and he tried to scrap it all together to write it off on their taxes as a loss, and everybody involved in the show basically begged and pleaded, please let us finish the show. They finished principal photography on this show 2 years ago. They've sat on this show for that long. Why? And then they dropped it all at once. And a lot of people feel like that was them saying they just want to get it out there, get it out of the way because they have no faith in it. And this, if that's the case, it's blowing my mind because this really is their. Did you guys hear about the same stuff too? I mean, like,
Yeah.
what do you
Oh yeah.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna interrupt. I wasn't gonna interrupt you. Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I did. Did you hear that same stuff, Salty?
Yeah, and I'm glad that they did eventually make it. I get that the studio, because let's be real, Marvel for the last, prior to last year, Marvel has not been exactly hitting it out of the ballpark. Um, Deadpool and Wolverine was a lot of fun, but it was not your typical Marvel movie and never was going to be. So
They did.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
For me,
and so yeah,
go ahead. I think for me,
they did drop a line about it in the show.
all right, all right. So we've talked. I think we've filleted the show enough. My quick question: what is if you have a gripe? What is your biggest gripe ultimately? And ultimately, what do you want to see them change? I don't think they're going to do a season two, but if they did do a season two, because these are Marvel spotlights, and the spotlights are supposed to kind of be standalone stories, and we can have that conversation. You like them or don't. But what are your thoughts? What are your biggest gripes? 'Cause
My biggest gripe is not knowing what they're going to do with the character. I want to know because Wonder Man is a heavy hitter as far as power level, and I think that he would fit right in with the Avengers, and I would like to see him show up in Doomsday, but I haven't heard anything about Yaya shooting on Doomsday or anything. But I think he would be a good fit. Is he going to show up? Probably not, but I would love to see him. And so, will we ever see Wonder Man again? I have no idea.
wow, that's weird. Go ahead, Danny.
What was the exact question?
What it's your question. What is your biggest gripe, and ultimately, what would you change if there's a season two?
Um, my biggest gripe, I've said it a few times, it should have been released as a movie. That's really the only problem I had with it. It should have just been released as a movie. As far as a season two,
Yeah, yeah. What do you think?
sadly, I don't think we're ever going to see season two or Wonder Man ever again, based off of stuff I've read, unless this show does gangbusters. But I'm sure people in the fandom menace are already shitting on it for no reason. So who
Oh, they
knows?
were 6 months ago.
Yeah,
I feel
so
like I honestly, my biggest gripe is the same thing as I wish they were longer episodes. I wish they were longer. Like, give me 4 hour long episodes, and I'm down. I feel like that would have been fine.
mhm.
But I do hope. I don't think we're going to season two because I think the Marvel spotlights are supposed to showcase characters, but they should be showcasing characters to then springboard into. I'm not their own movie, but into something. So when they show up in like a Doomsday or some other movie down the road, it's not weird. Or if we see something like, "Have you seen blah blah blah?" and it's Wonder Man, at least we go, "Oh yeah, I know him from this other thing." So I don't know, man. I don't know that you need a six unless the second season is them putting together the West Coast Avengers, which again I'm not because Vision's in the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, but they
Like
have
people
white visions out there, so
in the comic book, I don't think we need to get racial about it. I think
hey,
I think in
I'm
the
just saying.
in the comic books, Wanda
Hey, we could
cheats on
have Black Wonder Man and White Vision. Why not?
in the comics. Wanda cheats on Vision with Wonder Man. And so I'm like, which is arguably the most interesting thing that they ever did with the character of Wonder Man in the comics. The only reason why I remember that. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. I'd love to see more of what they end up
So,
coming up.
and make this clear, Stan. Wonder Man. Okay, so Simon obviously is Wonder Man's alter ego in the comics and in this movie, but Yes, Wonder Man is a fictional character in this movie's universe because it's an old superhero property that's being remade, and Simon happens to get cast in the lead role. So this is a totally different Wonder. This is a completely reinvented from square one Wonder Man from the comics. Don't think of this as an adaptation of the comics. It's not.
No, not at all.
And so his origin story is nothing to do with what you see in the comics. And you know, to even call him Wonder Man, well, it's because he played Wonder Man in a movie. You know,
So Phoenix says, only white vision. What's wrong with Mexican vision, sir? That's where you find the Bumblebee insurance guy, just to throw a joke out there. Anyway, it's a Spanish culture.
Nasonex.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so what are some of the other, let me see where we at. I know we already sold.
Do we want to give it a score? You know, if we were to put this on Critic List or something, do we want to do that or no?
I have a review for that. If you guys want to go see my review,
Okay.
you can.
Okay.
I'm not at the end of the day because it's like it's nuanced. It's nuanced.
Let me guess, Danny, you're going to give it a 99.5.
No. Probably like an 85. Probably, yeah, I'd give it an 85. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Awesome. This was the most impressive thing. That's all I'm going to say. This is one of the most impressive things for me that I saw in a long, long time from them, and it didn't turn me around, but it definitely made me go, "Oh my god, they made something good," and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see more of that kind of
Well,
stuff.
like I said, I'm looking at Marvel right now, again, putting aside Ironheart, because Ironheart is another project that was part of their let's crank out the content. But
I think so.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the best, but I would say it's one of the best.
Yeah,
to
I
me.
would definitely put it in top tier. Whatever, if there's a
I-
top tier of
that's
MCU shows, this is
These
in
are
it.
different shows. These are very different shows. Asking if it's better than Loki
Yeah.
is not a fair question.
That's not
Loki-
fair. Yeah, it's apples to apples, man. Yeah.
Loki
Or
came
apples
with
to oranges.
Loki came with a lot of baggage and overhead, and they had to do a lot of leaps, and they had to do some things to make it that special and big. Whereas this is two guys acting, and you don't see a whole lot of special visual effects or special effects or
Right.
superhero stuff up front. You see some, but not nearly that much. And to me, this stood on its own feet without having any of that baggage. You didn't have, like, Wanda, we had attachment to, and all these other characters since then we've had some semblance of attachment to. This was 100% thing we'd never seen any inkling of, and it carried its own. I thought it carried its own water pretty well. So yeah, it's excellent. You've heard that's good. Heard this is good.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's my old
so
buddy Joe. Highly recommend it. Check it out, man. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Highly recommend what?
The Wonder Man. He said, "I've heard this is good." Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Joe. You recommended Joe.
Oh no, I was just thanking Joe for
Hey,
tuning
ladies,
in.
Danny recommends Joe.
No, when I first did my Dork Side of the Ring, he was my co-host for like a.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah, Street Preacher says, right, we didn't need to see a montage of him learning to harness his powers. We really didn't.
No, in fact, the whole story is him trying not to use his powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
It is a good
So-
binge. I definitely think it's worth the effort to binge it and whatnot. All right, so that keeping us in the same neighborhood. What I know that there are some trailers that came out, and one of the trailers that came out was Daredevil: Born Again season 2. Do you guys get a chance to see that trailer at all?
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
not much to show for it. They did a lot of that. This is what we've been doing, and then they sort of glimpse at what's supposed to be the future. You could see you get to see dude with Paige, which Page or whatever her name is. You see a little
Karen
bit
Page,
of Punisher, but not much of Punisher. And then ultimately you see a whole lot of, apparently Fisk is out there just straight up being a warrior hero. He's like, yeah, I'm the mayor and I'm going to go boxing and all kinds of craziness, which by the way,
Right.
that dude is 60 and he looks amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
he does not look like a 60-year-old.
He does not look like a 60-year-old, bro. He looks, I'm like, oh, there's that same guy from Full Metal Jacket. Let's go. But yeah, I liked it. What are some of the things what did you think about it, Danny?
I really liked, even though I know it was Frankenstein together. I liked season 1 of Born Again.
Yeah.
Little couple things that concern me. There is no mention or sight of Punisher, and the after credit stinger was Punisher breaking out, which I know they said was more to set up his little special show he's going to have, streaming show. It was great to see Jessica Jones. If we see her, I feel like we're going to see Luke Cage. And I have a little bit of hope we might even see Spider-Man. But this trailer, it was actually a good trailer that I liked because it gave us nothing. You know what I mean? It
Sure,
didn't.
sure.
You know what I mean by that? It just
Well, it's a
didn't tell us
teaser in
any of
true
this. Yeah,
sense.
didn't give us any story. And I like how it's showing. In the first season, Matt Murdock is doing well. He's living in a high rise, and he's a partner at a new firm. And in this one, Matt Murdock is missing, and he's living what looks like in the sewers or something. I don't know. But he's got Karen Page, and so I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It gave me just enough of a taste.
I apologize, chat. Everyone decided that they don't give a dang about what you guys have to say. How about Jessica Jones? Her showing up and starting to throw fools around? I'm here for it. And I do agree with you. I do think that if she's there, you're definitely going to get Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, a mention of Luke Cage. Or he'll show up at the end and be like, I heard you guys need some help. And then he'll go into season 3 or some nonsense.
Right. I haven't heard
go
anything
ahead.
from Michael Couture, but I would like to see Luke come back.
Well, he's been very
I-
there's an interview I watched where he's I think he's going to be in it. It might just be a little small cameo, but because he
Who?
gave a very coy answer.
Who?
when asked.
Michael Couture.
Michael Couture,
Yeah,
the
he
guy
did.
that plays Luke Cage. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did absolutely, and he was. It's so funny. He gave the Marvel answer, which just always boils down to if I say anything, Feige's going to kill me.
Right.
Feige's going to take me out. The Marvel snipers will be.
Is that
there
a
for-
sniper I see over there? Wait,
Yeah.
Exactly, a little laser light. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
no, but he. I would love to see him not as a major player. I'd love to see him come in or be mentioned because remember, last we saw him in Netflix, and if they carry any of that over, he was running hard. He was running his little corner of the world.
He took over Cottonmouth's Club, and
That's
he's
right.
running that. Yeah. So yeah.
There you
Which
go. But
means
I
that
think
that could be a set piece at some point in the story
Yeah.
where they like run into him or something.
of course they'll allow a drunk. Sorry, will Disney allow a drunk PI Jessica? Of course they will.
Have you not
I mean-
seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
They better. I mean,
Come on.
it's a big
They
part of
would've
her
fully-
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she drinks back when I drank was my favorite bourbon, Four Roses. So she's got good taste.
I think
This
that
guy.
the Jessica Jones thing, I would still, I would love to see them kind of do the original storyline of Jessica Jones, even though they never will. And
Didn't they do? Isn't that the Purple Man? Or was there something different?
well, the Purple Man was an early villain of hers, but the original storyline of Jessica Jones was that she's a PI, and she was tailing this. This guy hired her to follow his wife, and so she's snapping pics of the wife in a hotel room. She's hooking up with some dude. Then she snaps a couple pictures of the dude leaving the room. Then the dude goes up onto the roof, puts on his Captain America costume, and takes off. And she's like, "Holy crap! I just got Captain America's secret identity."
Or as
Yeah.
She-Hulk likes to say, Captain America. I'm not finishing that thought.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
but
Since Captain America doesn't have a secret identity, it could be someone else.
well,
But
it could have also been at the time. What's his name? Could have been because remember for a brief stint, John Walker was Captain America, and he wasn't the nicest of guys.
right.
So
But something like that is where she accidentally uncovered some kind of piece of dirt on a known heroic character, but then of course everybody's coming after her because they want the dirt.
So I want to sit here and say, and Laura's not wrong. It sucks that he's the Captain American's quote unquote a cheater. This was part of the Marvel Knights emblem, which was supposed to be more grown up, gritty, darker, rated R
Right. style
content. That's why Jessica Jones has very sensitive subject matter, things like SA and things like that, and the mental manipulation of the Purple Man. And so you have all this this stuff they tried to do, and that was one of those moments where they tried to inject some unnecessary realism into the character of Captain America. But I feel like the idea almost becomes like the extended EU for Star Wars in that they've been bringing little things over like Jessica Jones, like the Purple Man. But unless you see it canonically brought in, I don't necessarily, because we've never seen anything like that ever again when it comes to
Yeah.
Captain America.
Well,
So-
and what I would say is even if you're, and I agree as well. I don't like the idea of I didn't like the fact that Captain America looked at himself and said, "That is America's ass." Right? I didn't like that because
Oh,
even though
come on.
it's a funny line,
Your
but
old man is showing.
and remember what did he say when he saw Captain America? Oh, and this is the guy that got on other people about using harsh language, right? So he should always be the guy that gets on others about using harsh language. Um,
Because characters are not allowed to ever evolve in
certain
comics
characters,
or
no.
anything
You know
else.
what? Superman is not allowed to be a dick, and neither is Captain America.
I don't
Now
know.
that being
I would argue. I would argue Superman in Superman versus the elites or whatever. I would argue he decided no, he doesn't actually do it, but he turns on a little bit. He shows what he's capable of, and if he did choose to be dark, and you get a different side of him than you normally would get because the normal sugar or honey versus vinegar style wasn't working. So he had to
right.
put the fear of Superman into them. I would
Well,
argue that's not
I haven't
how
read the
he's
comics of that. I've seen the
yeah.
movie, but I'm just saying that there are certain characters that should be uncorruptible generally, unless they're under the influence of something or it's an Elseworlds or whatever. But but as far as like, what if it was a misunderstanding? Like Jessica Jones thinks it's a hookup, but in actuality, it's she's got the wrong room and it's Peggy Carter. You know, uh,
Sure.
you know,
No, I get you.
so it's uh, you could make it so that it's still Mr. Wholesome Captain America, and there was just a misunderstanding. And
Hey,
Danny's
Bradley,
opinion.
what exactly do you mean? How does what feel, sir? I would love to hear the other half of that sentence.
How does
Meanwhile,
it?
while Danny's salty, the edge. It's all edgy. That's what it is. It's all about being edgy. Remember?
I don't
Uh,
like edgy.
no, I hear you. All right, man. I don't care about you know what. Screw the run. I'm ready to jump into this. I'm ready to talk some Star Trek, man. How about you guys? You ready to talk some Star Trek?
Sure. Is Lore
Clearly,
coming?
clearly.
Ah, look, I love it. I love it. I love it. He turned his. Yeah, he'll be here. Laura, we're going to talk Star Trek. So whenever you're ready to come in, if you want to join, you're more than welcome to. We always invite Laura as a welcome guest on the show. We love having his insights. Love seeing him pick apart some things. And I know I'm pretty sure he probably has some thoughts. Hey, there he is. Let's get you on the show, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Or he
Good,
says
brother.
he's
Good.
offline.
No,
Says
he's
I'm
here. I
offline?
see him. I see
I
him.
don't.
I'm
I
not
don't
here.
see him.
Yeah, I'm not here.
He's right there.
I
Yeah,
see. Wait.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
maybe,
Now I
does
see him.
that mean you're about to go offline, Salty? I'm just
I hope
curious.
not.
Oh, I thought this was a bit. I thought you were about to pull something up or something like that.
No, did you miss it? Did you miss it?
No, I saw it. I didn't understand it, but I saw it. So
Well, that's because you
apparently
haven't
the
watched
consensus
Wonder
is-
Man.
yeah, I was gonna
consensus
say
is you look like Josh Gad. That's really what it boils down to.
yeah, it's a 1-for-1. I was
It's a
confused.
1-for-1.
I was confused. I was like, how
we
did they
got
get an
us
image
right.
of me?
Well,
How was I in that?
That's
Well,
awesome.
Joe, check out nerdfightsshop.com and you can see a nice little gag on that Stardate 90210.
Or you can't show people.
Not
Don't
No,
worry,
I don't.
it's
I don't
not-
want to do all that.
Not on the thong.
Let's get talk. Wait, why don't we get into this before we start promoting everything and advertising
All right,
stuff?
all right.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
we
the
don't
show.
want Laura to get mad at us.
All right.
I'm
No,
not
I want to get into this myself. Let's talk about the show.
All right.
Okay, so I guess I'll start first. Since I didn't hate this episode. I actually thought this was the most Star Trek episode we've had, which isn't saying much considering that I do think it's very surface, like most of the season has been. I also think that for guys who went to the 32nd century, I don't know, to get away from canon, the fact that they keep reaching back into the canon cookie jar and expecting it to gain or garner stuff was a problem for me, because the stuff they're grabbing, they're just sort of going, by the way, here's a new condition for Klingons. Here's a new stuff that's going on. Here's a kind of Klingon you've never seen before. And by the way, we're going to solve all those problems in 45 minutes. And I'm like, what now? Hold on. Can we chew on any of this? Any of it at all? Because Klingons have always had been given more gravity in terms of like when things affect the world that they exist in, to the point that we got a whole movie about it once, and multiple episodes across multiple series about Klingons and their houses and everything else, only to have 45 minutes sort of just throw you. I see a lot of people going, I loved all the new Klingon lore, and I was like, oh yeah, but at the same time, I don't know that.
What
we
show
haven't-
did you watch that was
This-
45 minutes of Klingon lore?
This goes
Like,
back to
Did they
the problem.
come out with episode 5?
What are you talking about?
Did they come out with 2 episodes?
No,
No.
the episode I
Oh.
was watching
No.
involved.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know
so
the
I thought
history of the Klingons having left their entire
You're talking-
their entire planet behind because of
Well,
just
yeah,
destroyed reasons.
I too also saw that 30-second clip before everything else that happened in the show. You were saying there was a 45-minute
If I'm-
the
episode
entire
on.
episode is
Oh.
about this stuff. It's just done through the lens that doesn't make any
Was
kind
it?
of sense.
What, Mr. Know-It-All?
If
It was a no, of course not. But
Mr.
that's what they
Mr.
want to sell you.
Mr. Yeah, okay, cool. So as long as we're being honest with each other, that's what
I do
need.
want to address one thing, and that's
Go for it.
Stan's question here about Holly Hunter teaching people how to pronounce Kalis because they say Kalish. And I will tell you, that is a holdover from Discovery. Because if you listen to the Klingorks, when they say it, they go, Kalish! That's where they got that from. It's not from Holly Hunter. It is from Discovery.
That happened because they had those big giant.
Yeah, because of the mouthpieces they had. But yeah,
they couldn't
But
say
they-
anything. Danny, what are your thoughts? What was your thoughts, sir?
I was just going to say, to your point, Mr. Know-It-All, I think that's just more of the problem of streaming series only having 10 episodes. So they cram way too much in too fast.
Well-
So I agree with that critique of yours, is all I was going to say.
I agree with Laura's point, but I think the stupid thing is we don't need to, once again, completely rewrite Klingon history in 30 seconds. It's not necessary.
What was rewritten exactly? I mean,
Well, now apparently the Klingons are refugees because their
this is
planet
1,000 years later,
And I'll refer to Kalis as the myth of Kalis, which
Yeah,
Again,
that
a
was
1,000
never-
years later. I mean, it's so far removed.
Hold
it might
on.
seem more like
How
a
many
myth
years
or a
passed from
legend.
Kalis to Worf?
hang on one second. Time out, real quick.
No,
Danny,
this is a good
if
conversation.
that's your only point of reference and argument you're going to make, you're not going to have a lot to contribute in this conversation. Because while I would tend to agree with you, and I've even made that argument in the past about other things, they spent. I know Laura wants to joke about it. They spent the entire episode framing this Klingon's life. We're talking about Jaden and all his nonsense he's been through, and how big it was, and his brother thing, and his father thing, and all bit, and the multiple family that apparently they're all polyamorous now because whatever honor allows her to have multiple dudes. And again, I don't care. What I cared about was the fact they just dumped it as if you were emptying a can of stuff, and now I've got to sift through everything to try to just process it and keep up. That's the problem you have when you leave your 32nd century bed of safety to reach back into lore that we all know and can go find and give us milquetoast history. So that's the issue you have. So you can't keep saying, well, it's only because they're only an hour long. We know that is a long-running, long-standing argument. We're never going to get past that. We just have to sit here and say, then guys, do better. Because I'm sorry, I just watched 8 half-hour episodes, and it was a fuller story than I've ever gotten from the Kurtzman era Star Trek thus far.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that that's indicative of that problem. But to my other point, as I've said over the past few weeks, the 1,000 years is doing a ton of heavy lifting. Is all, So,
But I don't think it is. I think that it's offering a ton of excuses.
or excuses. There you go.
But that's where,
better.
like, Laura, I think you were going to comment. How I don't know the timeline as well as you do with Klingon lore, but when is Kalis compared to Worf?
So,
Do you know?
well, I had to Google it, if I'm going to be honest with you. But so here's my thing, and here's what I was going to counter to you, right? Because I was going to ask Know-It-All, how long, the first time we see written in the word, or we're aware of, when did Zeus appear in the zeitgeist? Like, in real life, do you know how long ago? I'm assuming you don't. Can you make a guess for me?
Sure, 800 BC.
Okay, no, it was the 8th century. So that might be 800.
Wow, look at that.
It was 1,326 years ago. Now, to Michael's point, again, as Michael would say, we're doing a lot of work for the writers. We're putting more thought into this than they ever did. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and admit that. But to Michael's point, when you look at it, it's been 1,500 years since the death of Kalis to the point of Worf, okay? And even then, they were talking about their gods, but they were talking about their gods in mortal terms. They killed their gods, right? They were too much trouble. They were more trouble than they were. And now we go from that to the 32nd century, so that's 900 or 1,000 more years. I'm not surprised that they're now calling it the myth of Kahless. It's been over 2,000 years since that happened, and it's taken us only 1,300 years to say that Zeus is a myth. You know what I'm saying? So I can actually see that. And even if we ignored all of that, we can. His family or him specifically just didn't believe it, because you did have I don't know if you ever had a Klingon non-believer, but you did have non-believers. Like you had Bajorans that didn't believe the prophets were actually the prophets. The entirety of the Federation apparently is atheist, and that's how everything procreates. So the myth calling a religion a myth, I don't necessarily. That doesn't bug me as much, because that just makes logical sense. But like you say, it's doing a lot of work, and you have to rely on going back to Dorkknight, that it's 1,000 years. You have to rely on that a lot to get where you're at with that.
And I'm done with that excuse. And
Same.
because
so am I. And that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
yeah, and I would not. Don't get me wrong. I didn't get all stickler about the Kahless being a myth, even though it kind of rubbed me the wrong way as far as, because at least from my understanding in TNG, Kahless, like you could argue about whether the Klingon gods were mythological, but Kahless was a historical figure. Kahless, they actually found his sword. They actually cloned his DNA, which means, and so they knew that Kahless was an actual person, whether or not he was, did all the great things that. And by the way, in TOS, he was a historical figure when the Excalbians resurrected him to fight Kirk and Spock. So and no, Kahless is not an allegory for.
Thank you. That's why I didn't post that comment. So whoever
Yeah.
posted it, do me a favor, keep your hands to yourself.
So my counter to that, and I'd like to hear it. The only reason I'm interrupting you is because I'd like to hear your counter to this. Is in Voyager. I don't remember the exact episode, but Janeway was really proud of an ancestor that she thought like founded NASA or something, or some kind of like real big thing of going to space or whatever. And you actually find out that she didn't find it. She was against it. She was actually pushing against it. But Janeway didn't know, and Paris found out, because Paris can do everything. He's a genius and all that good stuff. And then she talks about how it doesn't matter, even with the computer systems they have, that stuff is just going to eventually, you're going to get it wrong. That people are going to forget what happened in the past. Right. And I was curious, how would you take that given that episode? Because I think that episode kind of plays
I
into
would say that.
And again,
Voyager,
we're putting so much more effort into this than they ever cared about, by the way.
I would say that episode of Voyager was very poorly written, because if you have digital information and you don't have a catastrophic failure of the entire system somewhere in between in the intervening history.
Would you say maybe a post-apocalyptic event that destroyed every planet as well as every
Hold on.
If you had something like that, you'd say,
I knew you were going to say the burn. But the burn did not disable all computer systems. It only disabled warp drives. And so the
did disable computer systems. It did disable computer systems.
It did not destroy every computer.
It absolutely did. What happens if you drop a nuclear bomb on an LLM center? A nuclear bomb went off next to the computer system. It is. It's worse than a nuclear bomb. They all went.
Okay, so then how do they even know about Starfleet outside of the Federation borders?
I would argue that systems were widely corrupted. They were disconnected from each other, and that the data they had in the past was not saved or was corrupted. I would use the episode to prove that. When they first show up and meet Starfleet, Starfleet has lost a lot of its data due to what happened to the burn because of the huge disconnection. I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't worth a huge fight. I'm not trying to fight with you or anything like that, but that would be my counter to it, because we know there is corrupted data. I'm honestly, this doesn't mean a lot to me, so I will agree with you that it was stupid if you want to, because I'm not trying to fight with you on this. Because I more want to talk about how 70% of it was LGBT coded, and I need that out of my Star Trek, because they had such a great episode. Oh my god. Anyway, but finish what you're saying. I'm just saying I'm not gonna like fight with you.
Well, no, my
mean-
whole thing though is that they even established not all starships blew up, right? It was just anyone like if they didn't have an active warp core at the time, the starship, the dilithium just went inert for some reason.
Yeah,
The
anything
ships
that wasn't
blew up,
using the dilithium. Yeah, anything active, but anything that was disabled at the time, they weren't. It didn't blow
right?
up.
But we do know like the Enterprise D has, and in fact, even the original Enterprise, their library computer systems have an almost complete historical
Keep
record
that
of
up.
pretty
Sorry.
much everything. Um,
No, keep it up because I want to apologize. Darren has something right. You know what? No, keep it up because I want everyone to know this.
I will- ahead of time, ahead of time,
If
go
you
ahead.
drop a nuclear bomb on a center that has AI or LLM on it, then maybe it won't blow up. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe flowers will just fall on it. You're right. I don't know anything about nuclear power. You're right. Stop saying stupid stuff. Stop saying. I don't have to know anything about nuclear power to know that if you drop a nuclear bomb on a building, it's going to go away. Anyway, continue.
Wait, so Danny, you're awfully quiet over there. What are your thoughts?
Wait, Dorkknight's quiet on this show? That's weird. Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, no, I'm just letting everybody talk. I don't like getting in trouble for talking over people, and you know, seems to be a thing. I guess my hot take or takeaway from this episode, as somebody who is the 1997 policy debate champion in the state of North Carolina, I really enjoyed the debating in this.
Oh,
Although
you got to be kidding.
this debating was more like Lincoln Douglas debate, and in debate you have to be ready to argue either side, and they chose their sides, which whatever. So it kind of just like weird personal things to me. And they used resolved blah 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 blah. Like my first debate case was resolve the pursuit of feminist ideals is detrimental to gender equality, and that was back in 1993 or 4. You know what I mean?
So maybe you know more about this to me. Not to over. I don't get in trouble for talking over people, so I'm going to go ahead and do it real quick. I hated it in the fact that it looked like they were trying to teach public speaking and debate like at the same time. And like I've taken multiple like classes that give you like licenses for public speaking, and the one thing they don't do is like you're going to have to public speak. You're going to have to public speak and debate. Not going to give you any training on it. Good luck.
Well, this was very reminiscent of my oral interpretation class where I was first introduced to Lincoln Douglas debate. So it felt that part. It seemed to me like somebody in the writers' room was also a debate geek in high school or something like that.
I mean,
so
maybe, and you know more than
I
me.
like that.
So maybe they do it that way. I'm just saying that's not the way that I was
Yeah.
taught. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell is this? Is like a horrible way, especially because the Klingon didn't like getting in front of people.
Yeah. But as far as I actually might be the only one. I loved this episode. It was felt more like Star Trek. I like that they finally he did reference his mom. That was a gripe I had about the last
And his two
episode.
dads. And his two dads like that part too?
No. I'm sorry, pronouns. Caleb referenced
Oh.
his mother in this episode when she was completely not mentioned at all in episode 3.
yeah, but there's still no talk about his quest to find her.
I like look, man. This is
I'm
all we're
sorry.
getting.
I just
This is
wanna
all
know-
we're getting. This is
I
the
just
Star
wanna
Trek
know-
we've
I just
got.
want to know which
Okay.
part you wanted more. The 15 to 20 minute focus on Dude's triad family, which is fine. I don't really care about that. I care that it doesn't do anything for the story. Or the fact that the other dude was coming on to the Klingon when he's in a lot of pain, taking advantage of him.
Again, you give us a really
Durem? You're
amazing.
talking about Durem?
Yes, Laura.
Okay.
I think that tells us more about you than anything
Well,
else
does it?
because it
Okay.
seemed like he
What's it
was.
say about it?
I mean, well, they didn't kiss. They didn't seem overly romantic. It seemed like a dude trying to help another.
Dude.
dude.
Okay, hold
Come
on.
on.
No, hold on. They didn't see overly romantic. Okay, let's have this conversation. 'Cause I want this live. Again, you're right. Let's do it. You got
Can
me,
I
buddy.
set you up for this,
got me,
though?
buddy.
Can I set you up
All
for
right,
this, Laura?
No, hold on. No, I just want you to tell me this wasn't romantic.
Okay.
I just
No,
want
no,
you to say
no,
that.
no. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm talking Dorkknight.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying the opposite this week.
I'm saying
Yeah, I think this is a 3-on-1
So-
on poor Dork.
This was
just
super uncomfortable
just
for
so
me.
we are all on the same page, according to Dorkknight, and I want to know this. First off, do I need to talk to your mom? Do we want to make sure I get that Can I get their buy-in to make sure they don't get mad at me? Because I don't want your family to get mad at me. Okay, we're just going to assume that they're not going to get mad at me. All right. So when so first off, he walked in, and he had him close his eyes, and he was, chanting with him, and then he put his hand on the dude's other hands, brought his arm around him, and pulled him closer, so that they're almost, but not kissing, that they could feel each other's breaths on each other's faces, and that he's holding it there. And then the dude was physically uncomfortable. Just so we're all on the same page, nothing about that was romantic. I just need a yes or no. I don't need any kind of explanation, just a yes or no. I want you to tell me in the affirmative or the negative, if you could, please.
Negative, Kimasabi.
Okay, that's all I needed.
What?
I'm comfortable with us ending it right here. Let's stop the show.
No,
We're good.
no.
I'm
Hold
comfortable
on.
with that.
I'm not.
comfortable with it.
Hold
Hey,
on.
no,
I'm not.
Mr. Know-It-All. Dorkknight is okay if someone walks up to somebody else, has them close their eyes, grabs them by the hand, brings their arm around them, pulls them tight against their body, and just has them breathing on each other's faces. That's not sexual. That's not intimate to him. I'm comfortable leaving it right there.
Okay. If I sit here and go up to you, Danny, and I'm like, all right, listen, let me explain something real quick. Okay, listen to me, right here. You paying attention? Listen, put your hand, give me your hands. Put them right here, Betty. Okay, put those hands right here. Okay, all right. I want you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes for me. Okay. Now say these words. Oh yeah, feel that energy. Feel that energy, Danny. I want you to feel that energy between us. Can you feel it? Oops, excuse me. Sorry, wrong thing to feel. Can you feel? Okay, that's what I.
No, context.
Danny,
Hold up.
Danny,
Hold up.
Danny. No. Let's do the context. I'm gonna let you answer. Don't worry.
I was so uncomfortable.
Don't worry. I'm gonna let you finish. In just a
Somebody needs
minute,
to
Danny.
clip that.
I'm gonna let you finish. Okay? I'm gonna let you finish. We're gonna do that. And if you don't feel uncomfortable, if we ever meet, I swear to God, I'll take this to my grave. No. We're gonna, and if you don't feel uncomfortable, I will give $100 to a charity of your choice. But it has to be live, and it has to be on this channel and mine.
Okay, so
And we're
look,
gonna do that. So we're gonna do it.
if I'm
This channel,
if-
give me his nerd fight. Give me his nerd
if
fights.
I'm struggling, if I'm ever like, let's give this some context.
You're right.
If I'm struggling
if you're vulnerable
with
and
something as
Yeah.
serious as my family might be dead,
Okay.
and I'm faced with having to public speak about it, and public speaking is a fear
Yeah.
of mine, which it's not, but in this instance,
yeah, no, I
and
got you.
and I'm having anxiety
On the
attacks
same page.
clearly,
Exactly.
and nobody's there for me.
I completely agree.
And you come to me genuinely as a friend in a non-romantic way because I'm a
and I put my-
heterosexual male.
and I
I will
put my
not take
hands
it
on-
that way.
I put
And
my
you
hands on-
help me in a. I've like.
Okay.
Maybe
Point
I'm a
of
lot
order,
more
cut off.
comfortable in my sexuality than the
I
three
put
of
my
you.
hands on you.
But no,
I'll bet you.
I have no
I'll bet you.
problem.
I've had more.
We can
alternative-
stream it live.
Laura, I gotta ask you a question.
I'll bet you.
I gotta-
I'll bet you $1,000 I've had more alternative experiences than you, Dan.
I will-
$1,000.
Hold on, Laura.
I'll
Hold
bet
on,
you
Laura. Before you
1,000.
start
But-
talking
but
about all
before
your
that,
men.
Before that.
Wait.
Before that. No.
I
I'm
seriously
completely
doubt
with
that. But okay.
Let's go for it, babies. Let's do it offline. Let's talk about our experiences. But
Oh no,
he's
you don't
right.
want to know about his
No,
experiences.
No, he's
do
right.
you,
No,
bro?
maybe I do.
Bro.
You guys don't know. Maybe I do because it sounds like a good time. I completely agree, Danny. And I'm gonna let Salty talk. I'm gonna let him finish. Don't worry. But I completely agree.
I
If
just have a
someone
point
is
of order kind of
vulnerable,
question.
someone is hurting, where their family might be dead. The one thing I'm definitely going to do is come to them in their time of need when they're confused and they don't know what's going on and they just need some affection. And I'm going to put my hands on theirs, have them close their eyes, do a chant, bring my arm around them like we're doing a slow dance, and let them feel my breath caress their face. We agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Salty.
Okay, so no, I just want to, because one of the things that Danny was very clear in articulating was that he approached, this is a heterosexual man approaching him and as a friend. When on the show have we established that either of these two characters is heterosexual?
I don't care if they're
Well, no,
heterosexual.
we were
wait,
talking
I just
about.
want-
We haven't. In fact, because we talked about this in the chat. I think that the Klingon's going to come out as gay, and we already determined last week's episode, dude's poly, or what's it called, pansexual. So like men, women, fish, iguana. He doesn't care. So I agree with you. We were asking about
That's
me.
not quite
in
what
this instance.
pansexual means.
I know, man. I was just trying to make a joke, but
So are we
yes.
saying that I can't do that if I have any proclivities that aren't heterosexual? Are you saying that's what?
Well, no, dude, I've had like brother's gay. You know, I've gay
Okay.
friends.
And
Like this shit
my
don't
best
bother
friend,
me.
my best
I'm not
friend,
gonna kiss you.
and
You
Salty's
know?
best friend is black. What's that mean?
As
That
the
doesn't
as the
mean.
resident
Well,
black
his wife
best
is
friend
black.
of everybody in
So
the
whatever.
There you go. So he can't be racist. So there's that going on. No. So here's my thing.
Well, what was he gonna say? I wanted to hear that, Mr. Know-It-All. What were you about to
I was
say?
going to say, as the
Yeah,
resident
I'd shut me up.
black friend for everybody here on the show, I personally was extraordinarily uncomfortable by the scene. And the thing is,
Okay.
I'm the guy who didn't have a problem with the two people in silhouettes having a conversation about a foot apart. But when this guy walks in the room and beelines it straight to this larger person, who, by the way, they have shown in every other scene to be towering over everyone, but all of a sudden Durem, who's not exactly a tall guy, is like right there, nose to chin, and I'm like, golly, he's close. And then he
There's
starts
no
doing
way.
that whispery talk and that whole like you said, like this breath is on him, like and dude's looking down and everything. It's the whole scene felt very awkward.
The
And I was like,
immediate, and you know how you know we're right. You know how you know we're right. Is because the reaction of the Klingon. If you just watch his reaction, he was uncomfortable as hell. Dude clearly crossed a line that he shouldn't have.
Well, I think
even
if
if you're
sorry.
go ahead. No, you're fine. It's fine. You can talk over. I don't get mad.
I
if
was
you
just going to say, I think the Klingon, Jaden was uncomfortable because it's going to come out that he's gay because Hollywood can only seem to cast gay actors to be
is a
gay
gay guy.
characters, and he's gay in real life. So,
Yeah.
So, here's the thing that frustrates me. Here's the thing, and I was talking about this with Know-It-All. Here's the thing that frustrates. I think, now, obviously, we're kind of putting it on for the show, but I think that it's quite clearly it was meant to be some kind of intimate moment. I do. Now, if you disagree with that, that's fine. It doesn't bother me, but I think it clearly was. But here's what gets me. Talked about this with Know-It-All. They missed a wonderful opportunity to make this very Trek coded, to make it very, very Star Trek. And what they did is the Amir, what's his name? Why can't I remember their names? The main character who was in jail. Who was in jail. He was in prison. He's the first guy we see. The kid
Caleb?
looking for his mom.
Yeah,
Caleb?
Mir.
Caleb, yeah.
Yeah,
Is-
Caleb Mir. Caleb
He has
Mir.
is he the only one with a normal name? How can I not remember Caleb? Okay,
I
so
think
Caleb.
I think he's the normal
So
name.
Caleb
Real
tried to
quick,
connect.
Salty, proof of life. Are you okay? Blink.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, sorry. You're slumped over. Like, God forbid we do a whole stream. It becomes the internet like
So Caleb,
thing that you're
here,
just
I'll do
dead
it.
while you're
I'll do it
going
too,
off.
so he doesn't feel like it's off. So Caleb, Caleb tried to connect with him. He's like, "Hey, we're brothers, yada yada. We both come from broken families, or whatever the hell he was trying to say." And he failed. And the dude yelled at him. And I thought it was such a perfect, because when the fucking Orion dude, we were just saying his name. What the hell is not Jaden, the other guy?
Durem.
Durem. When Durem walked in, I was like, I did think, I was like, this is going to be awesome, because Caleb and Durem hate each other, right? I mean, they have a rivalry or whatever, right?
Yes, allegedly.
But Caleb, he flubbed. He failed. So now Durem comes in. And I thought they were actually going to fight, because I thought he was trying to talk to him in his language, like a Klingon or whatever. And then they went to the warrior thing where he was teaching, and I didn't mind that part where he's doing like the whatever and he's doing it through. It's when it became intimate that I had an issue with it. But I thought that this showed an excellent thing where you can see the rivals, if they work as a team, they get something done. Where Caleb fails, Durem can come through. Where Durem fails, Caleb can come through.
Great.
And that's what I'm saying. And that would have been a perfect scene, and it would have shown real Starfleet teamwork if they just. It just seemed really unreasonable. Now you're right. Maybe maybe they're gonna connect it. And now he's gonna be homosexual, and that again just proves my point. It's 70% of gay coded stuff and triad, poly, whatever, which is fine if it helps the story, but it absolutely does not. And then they had 30% of an excellent. The Klingons don't want to be given something for free. They don't talk the way the Federation talks. So let's talk about Klingons. That is such an excellent episode. There is so much you could do with that.
Agreed.
Well, and that's when
I did what you said.
Yeah.
I did
Sorry,
what you
Salty
said.
hasn't done.
You go, Salty. You go.
other direction. My big problem with the whole polyamorous thing is that it's it's like you have to actually look to see the other dad. It's like there's no interaction between the two dads, and there's no point in making this a polyamorous family except to basically virtue signal that, hey, we got a polyamorous family now in Star Trek. And I found it quite frankly to be stupid. I mean, if you have a reason, a story reason to have this character in there, fine. But just like when I was talking to Mr. Know-It-All about this, is if the character's sexuality doesn't matter, then don't bring it up.
Right. If it's not a major component of the story, what's the point?
So I thought, and we actually pieced this out together, me and Know-It-All, when we were talking about it. They had the perfect opportunity. If they want to throw it in, again, just make it have some kind of value to it. And what they could have done is, you know how at the end the dad was, how the dad, he honored him the only way he knew how, which is to
Right.
make sure he
To
can't
miss.
be a part of the family, to miss, right? So all you need is one more scene. And it could be a 30 to 60 second scene where the dad goes to the other dad, or the dad goes to the other dad and brother, and they work it out. You can do this on the back end, so you don't ruin the surprise or whatever, because I did like that part. But don't just say they have a triad. Have them work as a team and realize what's going on. I actually did like that part where she's like, he actually missed on purpose so that he could honor you the only way that he knew how. And I think that if you're going to do YA, that is a good, even though I'm sure no one on this panel got it, but the more I thought about it, the more I could see how it could speak to teens, where a parent is stuck in their ways and they can't accept or like who you are, but they like you. So they'll love you the only way they can. And I think a lot of teenagers would connect with that. So if we're going to have YA in it, that's a good way of doing the YA part, you know? And I just wish they would have done something with it.
Oh man, I wish you wouldn't have put that in there, Stan, because you just reminded me of
I just thought of the same thing.
What?
the nerdrotic comment. Did you see that?
No, what was the nerdrotic comment? I don't watch nerdrotic. So.
He was
He's the only. They bring a black Klingon or whatever else, and he.
no. They bring in two black fathers, and they both abandon.
They both abandoned their son.
Okay, that's funny. I might not like nerdrotic.
No, it was, and
That's hilarious.
Okay, what did I just walk into?
I
That
sure-
was.
Oh, hey, welcome back. We've actually started a podcast. We've been on for about an hour 30. Welcome back. Welcome to the show,
Welcome. Hey,
Dorkknight. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Dorkknight is now going to be joining us for this show. You know, I would hate for it to be inconvenient for you. So if you need us to stop the show, just
Look,
stop
I
it.
screwed up and I broke the seal before the show started. I had to pee again. I'm sorry, but anyway,
Nice.
I did send it in the private chat.
Well,
by the
you
way.
do have the cup there. Just use it.
I honest to God don't know how to use that private chat, so I had no idea. I just thought you randomly left.
Oh, okay.
No, he did say I gotta be.
Well, there's
that's
that.
weird.
Yeah. I like the war. What do you guys think about the? I counted; it was a minute 45. I want to do a battle breakdown on my channel. The
That's all you
minute
need is the
45
first
Klingon
short.
war.
My question before you get into that, what's up with the white Klingon? Did I
Well,
miss something?
so
Mr.
yes,
Know-It-All,
you did.
I too would prefer that we
Okay.
just have actors in blackface.
Hold
I'm sorry,
up, hold
Dorkknight.
up.
Go ahead. I'm
No.
sorry.
Have you
Mr.
guys not
Know-It-All-
seen? Have you guys not seen Undiscovered Country? The Klingon warden of Ruapinte was white. Okay, we've had white Klingons in the past. Now Discovery changed that in the first or second season, that because I did watch the first 3 seasons, where apparently the albino Klingons were outcast. Salty probably knows more about this than me, but we have had white Klingons in the
Sorry,
past.
Let me correct you, Dorkknight. It's not just one. We've had a lot of white.
Well, I didn't say
Klingons
just
in
one,
the
but
past.
we've had them in the past.
We have. They've just been painted black.
Okay, so the warden in
Right,
Undiscovered
wrong,
Country.
Point out Christopher Lloyd in Star Trek 3.
Yeah, but he wasn't as white. See, I get what
He wasn't as white.
I get
No,
what
What
he's
level
saying.
of white? What level?
He wasn't white enough.
No,
No, but
hold
if-
on.
no,
No,
if
no,
you
no. Let's
look at-
reverse that. So, how
my
light does a
This
black
guy-
person have to be before they're white, Dork? I'm
This
sorry.
guy
Let
was
Dork talk.
straight up a Caucasian Klingon, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
The the
By the way, it isn't, I want to hang on. I know that he wants to suck you in again because you guys are absolutely money.
Whoa. Hey, we just talked about we're not doing any sucking here.
No,
That's
it's
very
not.
funny.
We're
Yeah.
both
I
heterosexual.
want to know
We're
about
both heterosexual,
yeah.
and he's lost some of his
Lord-
family,
look,
so it's okay.
Lord-
It's not gay.
Okay, the second
It's
is-
not gay. It's okay. He
Lord-
doesn't look down. He closes his eyes. I don't swallow. It's not gay. I'm sorry, Mr. Nordal. You were talking.
Lore keeps laying down this idea that that's blackface, and by the way, I do
It is.
understand. That's not what I'm
It is.
talking about.
We've got Chancellor
I'm
Dork on.
I'm sorry.
We've got
Hey,
General
Dork,
Chang.
shut up. Stop speaking for 2 seconds. Let me get a thought out, you bastards, all three of you. What I'm trying to say is this: I do not want blackface Klingons. What I'm asking is, I have never seen a Klingon genuinely represented as Caucasian as the one that we saw on this episode. I'm not upset by it. I'm just like, oh, okay. When did we start doing that? I'm fine with that. I actually kind of preferred the idea that quote unquote Klingons began to be in TNG era, shifted into being relatively speaking African American casting. Not always, because clearly we know that's not the case. But to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It was easy to sort of carry that forward. And obviously, Worf did the work of laying a lot of the template down for what Klingons later on became. The bigger voice and the way the staccato Centaurian way of speaking. And he sort of laid a template down. And so moving forward, then you see this guy today. And I was like, who's this guy? Like, I was just very surprised by that. And the thing is, my problem, it's the same thing I have the problem with the Polycule family. Not that they exist. My problem with it is that I'm not able to process the changes that have happened in 1,000 years. If we're going to keep going to the 1,000 years, cool. But man, you guys are moving fast, because nothing in past experience has told us that the family unit would be described or defined this way in Klingon culture, just like nothing has ever showed us that I've seen a quote unquote Caucasian Klingon. And I just thought it was odd.
And I do want to address something, because that compared to like what Dorkknight was talking about before.
He looks black. He looks like a light-skinned black man to me. I
He
could
does
be
look like a
wrong.
brown guy, actually. He does look like a brown
He
guy.
looks like a light-skinned black guy to me. I wonder.
Just because the actor was Caucasian does
Yeah,
not.
that's
mean-
what I'm saying. Because like you're looking
Yeah.
at Gorkon too, and Gorkon was played by a white actor. I agree. He's a light-skinned black man in the show.
Hold
in
on.
the movie.
Okay, so real quick, Mr. Know-It-All, if you'll take a look at the image that I've provided, this is what the original makeup was for Klingons. And a lot of people thought it was blackface. It is not. Just like Spock's makeup was actually green, if you can bring it up anytime you're ready, Mr. Know-It-All.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
The original Klingons were actually, if you look carefully, a reddish hue to their skin, and some of them were actually gray. And so, if the makeup was meant to be non-human tones, but unfortunately, because of the way that 60s lighting and cameras and everything, not to mention old TVs, they just came across as being in blackface. And
Just in case, I don't want Laura to feel like he's being next to he's like approving of blackface. So I'm gonna leave that. No, it's good.
Well, let's do it right then.
There you go. There you go. That's the guy.
So here's my thing. You would know more about that than me, so I can accept that. I would say that because of the way things were filmed, Klingons were given a certain hue, which is black, even if they were meant to be green, right? Just like Command, their shirts were they were green, weren't they? But they came off as yellow, right?
The original uniform shirts were green. Yeah.
Yeah, Laura just sent me an image that I could not show or will not show. Right now.
No, you should, because I think Dorkknight would agree with me that is a white character in the movie. That character, as portrayed, is white. Anyway,
Oh god.
but would you agree with me that in TNG and in Voyager and in, well, I don't know about Voyager.
Well,
but
since the
PS9.
original cosmetic change.
Yeah, and I don't think they were actually doing blackface, but I do think that they made characters with African American hues that were white
Well,
in
like I said,
TV
that's
and
why I
in-
wanted to make it clear they weren't meant to be African American hues. Discovery was actually closer to the original concept as far as skin tone.
because they were gray.
I
Yeah,
would
where
like
they
to
were
hold
kind
up
of
this
gray and some of them
our-
were purplish.
I would like to hold up this question from our extraordinarily progressive audience, and I think this is important that we do that. Every TOS Klingon at the Fu Manchu stash.
Totally not true. That is totally not true. In fact, very few of them did.
No, but I totally know what he's talking about, but I'm just like, really? We're calling it the Fu
Well,
Manchu
you know what you're
stash?
thinking of is a
That's not
specific
sensitive somehow.
Klingon, right?
Yes,
You're thinking of
Core?
Commander Core.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
One
However,
point.
you know what's really interesting about that episode, the Errand of Mercy, which was the first appearance of the Klingons, by the way, is not only did they not have the darker hues yet like they did in the picture that I just showed, but the Commander Core was the only Klingon in that episode to have facial hair. Every other one of them was clean shaven, and there were dozens of them. So you see whole platoons of Klingons marching the streets, and they're all clean shaven.
Have we ever really found that explanation for that, an actual one?
What, that they're all clean shaven?
Yeah, well, how did they go
But
from...
that it hadn't been decided yet that all Klingon men had beards. So
So I mean, I always just interpreted it that they were, and I could be wrong because I've never directly served in the military. So Michael, you can talk to this more than me, but I always just assumed that they were trying to be a warrior vibe, and you only got the actual mustaches when you've become an honored warrior or whatever in the original series. That's the way I have always looked at it. I could be wrong though.
that's a reasonable assumption because it is the commanders that we see, except for I don't think Koloth had a beard. I'm trying to remember.
I don't think you had to have one, but you could. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The once you become an actual honored warrior, the restrictions was a lot less. That's how I said it in my mind.
I'm so sorry, by the way, that I got us on this like really long rabbit trail. I was just so stunned because the guy teleports in, and I'm like, let me get this right. The first Caucasian Klingon, and he's already made president of the Klingons? What's going on here? Like, what's happening here?
Well, of course, it's white privilege.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
all over
There's so many
Klingon.
jokes.
did nobody there in the very progressive Kurtzman writers room or production staff say to themselves, hang on, guys. So the white Klingon is now in this century the leader of all the Klingons, and you guys don't see maybe a problem with that?
Hey, so look at the private chat because you're not going to get me saying that online because the last thing I need is that clip going around. But I didn't think about it, but I think that specifically is a bad message that they're sending. When everything goes to hell,
Oh, dude, yeah.
you know who they call when everything goes to hell.
That's so bad. He's the guy with the good credit. Anyway.
Dorkknight, don't look so pissed off, man. Let's have a conversation. I don't
I'll tell you
disagree.
right now. My credit ain't great.
I get
Moving
yelled
on.
at every time I open my mouth. So
I'm
just
not
gonna sit
yelled
back.
at you. I just
Not you. No, you're fine.
I didn't yell at you. Go
Who's
ahead.
yelling at you?
I just want to finish my thought. Go, sir. Go ahead. Please talk.
No, I mean, we can just not agree. There's tons of white Klingon examples. I just don't care to argue about it anymore.
Did you see what I included the white guy in another movie that I agreed with you that I think he's nothing but white? Click on that link.
Yeah, that's not. I mean,
No,
that's
no, he's-
you know.
no.
I saw.
No, it's
And
another white guy, like you
I'm
were
just
saying.
so.
I'm not
Anyway.
even clicking on the link.
It's just it's Robert Downey
Tropic,
Jr.
yes,
from
Tropic
Thunder.
Thunder. It's
Yeah.
Tropic-
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I saw it. I was like, oh my God, it killed me. I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting it.
Although to be fair, he is playing a white guy in that movie. So.
That's what I'm saying. You're so, yeah.
Now-
So I
now
mean,
that we've
white guy.
exhausted
It's
this,
another example. Maybe
Does
he's
anyone
Klingon.
actually talk about
Maybe
the-
because it's a parody, so maybe they're parodying. Talk
Did
what
you want
about
to talk about the minute and a half war?
the what?
The minute and a half war?
Oh, I mean, because it was condensed, they could have done better with it. But I actually liked it. because it was meeting the Klingons on their terms. It was very Star Trek. I honestly, that's what frustrates me about this, because I think they add so much of this teen angst and this coded stuff that if they leaned into the other aspects of it, that it would have been a lot better if they expanded that. I do think it would have been hilarious if the Klingons didn't actually understand what was happening and fired full power, though. That would have been like completely hilarious. Not that they were at war, but they thought they were actually going to have a fight. But I like that. We can get on to that's next to it. I'll tell you what really pissed me off, because there are reasons to piss people off. What is the point of the rest of the ship if the saucer can come out and it has a warp drive and it has?
Don't even get me started on
Here's my thing. I was getting into that. What's the point of that huge ass deflector shield if the smaller part has a deflector shield? Why the hell would they have? Is it just so that people know that it has a deflector shield? Yeah, they have two deflectors. They have a deflector shield for their deflector shield. And also,
it's a flying saucer. It's literally a flying saucer.
Yeah, but the thing is there's no point to the rest of that ship that I can understand.
It's because the rest of the ship is where all the kids are.
Leave them on the planet. Leave them on. They're literally on Earth. The ship lands and stays most of its time on Earth. Leave them on Earth.
No,
So,
because then
I want to
in space for this.
I want to actually address that question that Street Preacher had. So, are they suggesting the Klingons agreed to a fake battle? I think the answer is both yes and no. Yes, they agreed to a fake battle in principle, but I think no. I think the core of the idea is the Klingons respected the fact that someone at the very least went to the trouble to understand how they needed to be communicated with, which is an extraordinarily progressive viewpoint, and another thing that apparently 800 years worth of evolution allowed the Klingons to be able to have that rationale, even though we've never, ever, ever seen any inkling of that type of rationale from them before.
So just in defense of Danny here, because Danny, I know you got a lot of crap. So there is a whole gaggle of white Klingons.
Or I mean, just go to Deep Space Nine, Blood Oath. There's a white Klingon there.
Okay, let's see. They have very, very, very dirty faces because
but they are all clean shaven.
Whoa, that's problematic. Know it all, but no, it's not.
Why?
Huh? They just have dirty faces. That's problematic.
That's what he's saying.
They are all African American. Okay, we're not going to agree. Okay, I just looked up DS9 Blood Oath, Dorkknight. We are not going to agree on this. All of those people are light-skinned black people. They just are. I'm sorry. If you don't see that, if you think they're white, that's fine. I agree. We're still going to hug each other and intimately, non-sexually have a moment together, okay? We're just not going to agree. No, hold on. No, I can't let this go. Hold on. No, I'm going to give you the image, and we're going to look at it together. We're going to do this live. This isn't a joke image. Well, it's not really a great one, but here.
Is it a real image?
It's a real image. Look at it first if you don't trust it, but...
I do. I trust you. What is it?
It might not be big enough for us to show.
This looks like a rock band from the 80s.
That's fine.
Core, Kalis, and...
the guys. Yeah, the guys.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? Oh my God, it disappeared. There it is.
Now, you could argue Core looks lighter than the other two. Koloth, Kang, and Core.
They really do look like a band. I'm sorry.
Yeah. A hair band.
See, here we go. It's just small. It's a small image.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, it's okay. Here's the thing. There you go. There's the guys.
I present to you white people. Here's another one full of the glorious white race. Click on that one.
All right, here we go. Let's see.
But I get, yeah, because Koloth, look at,
I will say this: at least they gave him the same mustaches and like eyebrow type stuff. You guys, that's too much.
Too much. Dorkknight always looks pissed on these. I don't even know why he comes. Like, are you just like addicted to like getting angry? Is that why?
I don't know what you're talking about. And what happened to everybody?
What just happened here?
I don't know. We're just looking at your picture for some reason.
Yeah, it said it was offline. Did it go offline on the show?
I'm right here. No, I'm right here.
Yeah, but did the show go offline?
No,
we're offline on mine.
So I think that what we
Kang
can
had
all,
that good tan.
He was the right skin. Oh my god, this is a horrible show. Y'all are gonna get me canceled. Oh
yeah,
my god, y'all are gonna get me.
we are going to forever be
Writer
banned.
teacher says Laura's not the first to point this out, and yes, it has been a point of critique over the years. That's good to know.
So that's not white.
Is that a Klingon? Who
That is a
I look-
Klingon.
I can
That's
find
from
you.
that's from the episode Blood Oath, Season 2, Deep Space Nine.
Can you
His
make it
name in the credits is actually the albino.
Can you
And
make
this
it?
is
Can you
Well,
make it?
yeah,
an
he's an
albino?
albino.
That's not the same thing as white.
He has a
Yeah.
skin condition.
Albino is a person with a skin disease, meaning they have no pigmentation.
I'm just saying this was from 30, 40, 30 years ago. I mean, like, anyway, but I don't know. It just didn't bother me as much as it seemed to bother you guys.
It didn't bother me either. I was just bumped into. Well, wait a minute. So this is a thing? Okay, cool.
You know what bothered me more is how did the saucer section have warp drive without nacelles? That bothered me more. You want to talk about Star Trek stuff. At the end
Well,
of the
that's why I said
episode,
the whole thing is just a flying saucer that has a school attached to it.
yeah, but it had the nacelles, and when it goes down into Earth to attach to the school,
But the
it
nacelles are
left
just
the
there
it
to
left
look.
the nacelles in space. But when we see it go to fight the Klingons, it separates from the nacelles, and then the saucer section goes into warp.
Well, you see, that's the
Have
thing.
we
You're
ever
not
seen
paying
that before?
attention- Hold on, you're not paying attention to the design, sir. And I'll bring up the image here because I know a good image for this.
So while you're doing that, oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I thought you were pulling up. Continue. To answer the question, yes, because I just did a video on a vessel that did that.
On a vessel that has warp drive.
Yeah. So like literally, I did a
I
video
thought it was the
today.
nacelles that made the warp.
It is, but the nacelles don't have to look like they do. So like, and I just did the video on this on the Prometheus. It has 3 different sections, and all 3 sections, if you actually look at all 3 sections, have nacelles. The middle one, I think it's the middle one. Either the middle one or the top one don't have the big nacelles you see in back, but on the sides of them, they actually have the nacelles. So they can be integrated into the subsystem.
We may
or
very
into
well
the
be
structure.
on limbs about some of this stuff, guys, because them folks in the crowd talking about that they didn't interpret some of the same stuff as us, and by that's fair. I think it's fair. I know I didn't interpret things the same way Laura or Salty did last couple weeks ago, so it's
Interpret what? What are they talking about?
I'm assuming they're talking. I don't know. He just said the way he said it interpreted certain scenes, so I assume they're probably talking about the one scene that.
Tell me what scene you didn't interpret. I'll
Okay,
talk.
so this is the rear view shot of the Athena. And so just to clarify, those aren't nacelles, those are freaking wings.
Can you make that bigger?
They're super wings.
Okay, so they're not necessarily. Are we making a joke here, or
No,
because
look at the shape. Those are not nacelles.
Those just
Like,
look like 32nd century nacelles to me.
they don't look like any other starship's nacelles that
I
we
agree,
see.
but
even in the 32nd century.
But listen, Salty, it's been 900 years.
I hate you so much, bro. I hate you so much.
But no, in seriousness, I don't.
I need a cigarette. You guys
Here's my thing. When I went back and I rewatched some of the warp, the like 10 seconds of warp, you actually see that ship in warp. They don't act like nacelles anymore. But I would agree with Dorkknight that I thought they were nacelles as well, just because of how we see how we see the older ships, and they were just like fancy nacelles or whatever, where they didn't look like the other ones. I agree with Dork that that's a really easy thing to assume. And until they did the little saucer section and it went out, I didn't actually look. But you're right; they don't act like nacelles. I agree, and they don't seem to have any purpose to them at all.
Well, I think the purpose is simple. That's Starfleet Academy. That's where all the kids are.
In those nacelles.
They're not nacelles.
No, that's in the wings, whatever the hell they.
Think of it as, because if you notice
for the record, that
image-
wasn't me. I did not bring this up. That just for the
No,
record.
I brought that up.
Okay.
So didn't hold on. So let's look at this, because didn't a lot of cadets lose their lives in the first episode? Because that's what he latches onto. I think. Let's go back and take a look, because when he sends the thing to connect to the ship,
right.
which just magically goes away once all of the stuff goes, which makes no
Well,
sense.
he says he's trying to get the warp nacelles
No,
which
no, no. But I'm saying if the I'm not saying you're wrong, but if that's where the cadets are, those hook things that he used, that looked kind of similar to what they did in Lower Decks, those latched onto the wings. So that just killed a ton of cadets, I would assume. You know what I'm talking about? Like
No,
you
I mean, I feel you. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
but then Starfleet Academy wasn't officially open yet.
it had all
I
the
don't even know
cadets
what
on
that
it. They were
answer
picking
means.
up all the
What does
cadets.
that answer mean,
No,
bro?
there was a line of
So they're-
dialogue where there
so
were
they're
no
technically-
casualties in that first
Why? How
episode.
could there be no
Okay.
kids? That's horrible.
And as we all know, Star Trek does not have any kind of inconsistencies when it says stuff
See,
like that.
well, I'm just saying that's what
You're right. You're
I
right.
think. It's not up to me, man. I'm just reporting what happened. That's all. I mean,
That's fair. No, that's fair.
No, you're reporting what they
Well,
said.
apparently their EMH sucks.
So listen, one of the things that I actually did like about the episode was that ultimately you end up with this resolution, this solution that came up through this problem. Though again, all very surface. I still like the fact that Jaden, for best, good or worst, is actually starting establishing his own sort of name for himself as having been a big part of this thing that happened. And I'm like, that's cool because we accepted that kind of behavior and stuff from other people in Star Trek. So good for him. Like I thought that the fact that he was able that they used this, I wish the whole thing would have happened a little more like paced better because again I feel like we were rushed through everything and everything sort of and not even in the way that like Strange New Worlds or episodic TV does it, which feels satisfying. This felt like problem presented, oh look, it's going to be deep, oh next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and you're just pushed through until the very end when everyone's looking happily at Jaden on the bridge going, you did good, kid. And I'm like, okay, he did, right, he did good, because it just all felt performative in a way. I don't know. It just am I the only one that caught that had that read?
I think the whole episode felt
I sent you something, Noodle.
rushed. I think that if you took out the polyamorous crap, you took out the. I think most of the debate stuff was unnecessary, and you just made it a story about the Klingon crisis and Jaden trying to deal with it. And then Jaden coming up with the solution that they go with at the end, it would have been a far better episode, and you could have dug into it a little more.
Can I say on that what I hate about this show is it is all about tell but not show.
Yeah.
Like why we don't get to see the big game to see if they win. We see him come up and do his little speech, but I want to see an actual like debate. I thought it would have been cool if he said, "Get me back on that thing," and then he actually debates Caleb and actually like wins or at least matches
Instead
his
of just giving a
argument.
speech.
Instead of just giving a speech. Now, you have really got me stuck on these wings now. Can we look at that real quick if you don't mind?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now. Here you go.
So Salty, can you make it big screen real quick?
Hold on.
There's
Go
two
on.
things interesting because again, you see where it latches on. I'm not saying you're wrong, but if that makes sense. If the cadets are there, then I guess they just had them in emergency rooms and not in their actual places because those people are dead. But beyond that, what I think is interesting is based on what you said and looking at it, what is that blue thing under there then? Because it can't be a nacelle then, right? So that's not going to be a part of the nacelle. Like what?
Well, if it is, then there's a whole lot of wasted structure here.
Right.
I mean, and which I'm not saying is out of the question, but I'm just trying to figure out what's the point in having warp nacelles if the warp nacelles are unnecessary to go to warp.
So
that's what my thought
Okay.
was. No, I
So,
saw that. Yeah.
the only thing I would say, if I had to give them the ultimate, if I had to do this in a lore video, if that was confirmed as a nacelle, and without us having this conversation and me seeing this image, I might say those are nacelles, but I would say that it would be similar to the Galaxy class, well, not the Galaxy class, the Prometheus,
Right.
where those are the main nacelles, and then the whatever saucer section has backup. Like a
But
backup.
the thing is, but the saucer section, there's no secondary hull. I mean, you have the outer ring, but that's it. There's so little of the ship that is, because basically that's 90% of the starship goes off without the nacelles, which makes no stinking sense. Because you think about it, like with the Galaxy class, the saucer separates, and yes, the saucer is oversized, but the secondary hull is a distinct and separate part of the ship. In this, the main deflector dish is on that stupid droopy part at the bottom of the saucer.
Well, the other thing too, it at least makes a little more sense how they were able to go to warp now, because I always questioned that in the first one too, because I assumed those were the nacelles, just because that's my mind always told me when you have two long parts of a Federation starship, those are nacelles. That's just what
Right.
my mind internally tells me.
Oh,
And
no, it totally makes sense.
I was wondering how they even went back to warp. It now makes a little sense that the saucer section had a warp. I don't know how it took the entire thing with it, if those are warp nacelles, but they went wireless with warp. So am I the only one that look? I'm not saying I like it or anything like that, but it's not really. It doesn't like destroy me that they're not connected. I think it's stupid too, but it's whatever. There's
It's
a lot of
stupid.
stupid things Star Trek does.
Right. I mean, it's stupid
Agreed.
from
I'll agree
the
with that.
sense. Yeah, it's stupid from the sense that it violates the conservation of energy. I mean, because you're using more energy to keep the nacelles separate from everything than to have them physically attached, and so you're just burning energy for no reason.
I have a feeling their first drafts of all their scripts referred to them like this: the cool lung parts. And
Yeah.
then someone would come back and tell them those are nacelles. Change it to nacelles. Don't you want to put the cool lung parts? I think it's exactly how they refer to them in their writers.
You're probably right, which is sad and pathetic, but probably true.
I don't mind making like if you want to make the model first and then add the things to it later. I don't have an issue with that as long as you're okay with modifying it to make sense in the end. But like if they wanted to make the ship look like that, I don't have an issue with it. Just make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Don't just
Right.
have it there to have it there. Like I'm not sure, I can't say this, but I would assume that the first thing they did when they're putting vessels together is they knew they had to have specific parts, but they really wanted it to look good on camera. That's what they cared about more than anything else, right?
Agreed.
So I would assume that all of them started like that. So if they wanted this vessel, if this is what they wanted, if this, I don't know why, but if this is what they wanted, then just make it all make sense. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, but it does make sense because it's got pretty birdie parts.
I wonder if they liked. And I'm sincere about this. I wonder if they like the comm badges because the comm badges are the ship. I'm wonder if they made the comm badges first and then they're like, we're just stuck with it now because the comm badges.
Yeah, because the comm badges look like the ship. Yeah.
And they like the way it looked on camera. So I'm wondering if that's how it actually happened. The comm badges got made first and then they had to make it into the ship.
I feel like
but Danny, you've been really quiet about this, Danny. What are your thoughts on the nacelles?
Oh, I fucking hate him. Sorry, I cussed. I hate him. I think